Hey there, theater makers, and welcome back to another episode of Theater's Not Dead with Keyanna Alexander. I am your host, and I'm so excited to get into today's conversation. But before we do that, some quick reminders. You can support us at coffee.com. The link should be right around here, I believe. So go ahead, and if you like what you are seeing on our YouTube channel, check out our exclusive TND blog, Key Thoughts, along with some other general content and shenanigans. All that is there, including link to our merch page. That's right, we have merch. So if you want to check some of that out, feel free to do that as well. And as always, social media links are down below. Y'all, today's guest is like one of the coolest people you'll ever meet. And I'm so excited. And here wow, I struggled with that sentence because I got really nervous because I'm internally screaming. But here is her intro. Rebecca Lee Lerman is a New York City-based performer and writer. Her full-length musical, Her Hotel, premiered virtually at the Women's Theater Fringe Festival 2020 and won jury's selection for Outstanding Production. Her other plays and screenplays were featured at the Pan-Asian Repertory Theater, the Midtown International Theater Festival, Universe Multicultural Film Festival, and Wiso Hapa, which celebrates people of mixed race. As a writer and performer, she participated in the 72-hour shootout competition, and her short film was selected as the top 40 out of 400 to be screened at the Asian American Film Festival. Rebecca is also a contributor to the magazine Hapa Mag, which is an online magazine by Hapas everywhere. Rebecca enjoys playing and writing songs on her guitar when she is not performing. You can find her practicing yoga, binge watching the latest Netflix craze, and doing Reiki healing for herself.
Reiki, yes.
Reiki for herself and others. And without further ado, here she is, Rebecca Lee Lerman.
Hello. What a fabulous reading of my bio. Thank you so much.
I think we should do all bio readings that dramatic. I had so much fun.
Dramatic readings of people's bios. They make other people feel really good about themselves.
Yes. I mean, but it lends itself to be dramatically read because it's so spectacular.
Well, you gotta build yourself up, you know.
So good. So good. I guess we should ask, how are you today, Rebecca?
I'm doing okay now that I'm here with you, you know. I mean, what do I have to complain about? You know, I have it, I'm pretty privileged. My life is pretty privileged. I have it pretty well. You know, I have a nice apartment in New York City. I live with 2 cats. You know, I have a decent cushion of money. So, you know, I have it pretty good as opposed to most people, you know. So I'm doing okay. Yes.
I shared this with Rebecca before we started filming, but there's just something about her background pillows that make my heart swell.
That's so funny. I'm so glad you like them. You can get them on Amazon, and they're easily accessible to the public, and you can make them your own.
Yes, pillow vibes.
Yes.
before we get into the nitty gritty of the interview, for our audience sake, Rebecca and I have worked together virtually in the past. As a part of her bio, she mentioned her hotel. Um, and the bio doesn't do its justice. Like, her hotel, a banger. Like, the whole musical, a banger. And I was so privileged to be one of the ASMs for the production, and I got to shadow Mickey Marvel, another fabulous woman everyone should love and adore. But it was like Rebecca Lee Lerman and Jessica Wu, and they said, "Yeah, we about to do this." Um, so we're gonna talk about her hotel today as part of like Rebecca's writing process and one of the projects that I just absolutely adore. But I just wanted to kind of give people like, wow, they're really giggly together, and here's why. Okay, well, here we go. Rebecca, how did you get started in theater?
Well, I was watching Mikhail Brezhnikov dance, at the New York City Ballet, or one of the ballet companies, and I wanted to dance with him. I wanted to be Gelsey Kirkland, who was his partner at the time. So I started with ballet lessons, and from there, my aunt would take me to Broadway shows in New York City, and then I saw Les Miserables, Phantom of the Opera, the whole Cats, the whole deal. And I started trying to sing the songs from there. And my mom was like, "Oh, you know what, Rebecca, you have a pretty good voice. Let's take you to voice lessons." And I started voice lessons. And then I, auditioned for Dorothy at a sleepaway camp. And I got that. And then the next year I got Peter Pan, and then I just kept going.
That got really aggressive, and I'm so into it.
Oh, I don't know why.
I am trying to track something here, so I'm going to toss this out, and then you let me know if this applies to you. Rebecca, were you an athletic child?
No, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
I was I was pretty, I don't want to say weakling, but I wasn't as strong. I remember in sleepaway camp, I had to pass the deep water test in order to swim in the deep water. And the deep water test was you have to swim 8 laps back and forth in the deep water. And I don't think I could make 1 lap. I would get so winded. And so I would always have to swim in the shallow water. And yeah, that was a little embarrassing on my part because all of the other girls in my age group got to swim in the deep water. I think finally I passed it, but I had to have a camp counselor swim with me and hold my hand and hold me when I got tired.
That's a really precious story about away camp and like counselors being really kind. That's actually really sweet. But I relate so heavy as someone who could not go into the lake at my sleepaway camp. I relate so heavy. Like, anyways, the theory is that some of us theater folks got into theater because as children we couldn't do the sports.
Yeah.
And so far it's been tracking.
Yes. There it is. I put in my 2 cents for that. Yes.
All right. Hannah, if we're tallying these things up, add another tally. Oh, man. Okay. Wow. Well, so you are approaching theater from a very musicality type of mindset then.
Yes, definitely. I feel like that is my writing process. I feel like it's easier for me to get the songs out than it is to write dialogue or just writing the actual text. I
Mm-hmm.
feel it's easier for me to pick up a guitar and start humming a tune, and then all of a sudden lyrics coming in and having that happen. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm always so amazed by people who have that gift. As someone who, I can read music, I can confidently say Keyanna can read music.
Wow, that's amazing.
Can I like compose anything? Can I do what you do? Absolutely not.
Oh, well, you know what? I can't actually write the notes down, but I have a tape recorder, and my writing partner, Matt Park, did all the orchestrations for my musical. So I would play the melody for him and send it to him as a recording, and he would add, all these bleep bloops, to flesh it out. So you can't do it alone. I have a great team of people that helps enhance what I've written.
Yes.
Yeah.
We love collaborative art.
Yes.
Yes. So, we've kind of touched on it already, but I'm going to formally ask you the question. What was your writing process like before the pandemic?
Yes. I I have very visual dreams, so I feel that I try to record my dreams down in a dream journal. I also try to do Alex Lynn touched on it in your previous interview, where you keep writing a continuous stream of thoughts, and I would do like the artist way, you do morning pages in the morning, just 3 pages of continuous stream of thoughts, like don't think about it, just keep going, don't go back. And I find that that's really helpful in getting the kinks out and then having things just come to you. And yeah, just picking up a guitar and just playing 2 chords and then hearing a melody and then just writing it down and recording it.
You're okay. I'm like actively stopping myself from gushing every single time you speak. I'm just focus on the words, Keyanna. It's fine.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So, you mentioned that it's easier for you to write the music than it is to write the dialogue. So,
Mhm.
how does that structure look like? Are you writing full albums kind of and then inserting scenes in between? Like what does it look like?
Yeah, so far that has been my writing process. I create as many songs as I feel is necessary or just wants to come out of me. And then I just try and piece them together in a story if I can, and I've definitely dropped a lot of songs from her hotel. I've dropped a lot, and you just sort of you cut and paste and you see what works and what doesn't.
So this is the craziest game of like puzzle pieces to exist because you're not necessarily writing the songs with a narrative in mind. You're doing the
No.
exact opposite.
At least that is what because I just always wanted to write a musical. I just always wanted to, and I didn't know how. And as soon as I was able to play 2 chords on the guitar, I was like, okay, here I go. Like, I'm just going to start writing. Just start writing and just don't think about it so much. So that so yeah, I wasn't thinking so much what the story was going to be. I just wanted to write something. So from there, the songs came out, and then I was like, okay, now how can I put these guys together? Yeah. I'm not sure if that's going to be my process down the road,
Sure.
but that was the easiest way for me to start, is just to put whatever comes out.
Whoa. Uh, Keyanna, focus on your words.
Oh,
So then, how has the pandemic and being stuck in your lovely apartment, how has that affected your writing process?
Yes, I try to be pretty consistent with just trying to write a little bit a day and also practice my guitar a little bit a day. And I also just try to remember it, even before the pandemic started, I would always put so much pressure on myself. And social media, you compare yourself to, even when and still am an actor, you compare yourself to what other people are doing. Oh my God, this person booked like 5 shows, in 6 months, and I only did one thing. Or, oh my God, this person has been writing since he was a toddler and he's got like 10 projects like everywhere, you know. Um, but so for me, my pep talk that I give to myself is, Rebecca, you have time. You have time. You don't. And that was what a vocal coach said to me once when I was getting really frustrated with not being able to learn a certain phrase in a music piece. You have time. You don't have to get it now. You know, you don't have to, like, not right now. You have time. So I definitely try to remember that when I'm doing anything creative, is that I don't have to have, a finished product or 10 things. I have to write 10 things and I have to get it out all in a month. I have time.
That is such an important point, though. I was in a conversation with some other associates, and pacing was the topic of the day, I'll call it. And you're absolutely right, because one can argue a lot of what we do now has to be on social media because of networking and getting your name out there. And in order to be successful at social media, you have to constantly be pushing out content.
Yes. Yes.
That's hard.
It's hard and you it's a it's you as actors and writers, we feel like we have to perform all the time, and we have to be on all the time, and that's a lot of energy to expend. And then you're, especially in front of a computer, you know um yeah, it's very hard to just
Yeah.
spend all that energy.
I as you were speaking, I was kind of just like, yes, I do have time. Wow.
We have time, especially now. We have time. Like, we don't have to rush because we're in our homes and we have this time to nest and cultivate our space and relax, and just a little bit every day. Just a little bit every day. That's just what I try and tell myself.
Absolutely. One
Yeah.
of the sites of inspiration for this particular series was that meme that was floating around a while back. The whole Shakespeare wrote King Lear during a plague. What are you
Oh.
doing?
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't have TV. I don't know. He didn't have social media to distract him.
Yes.
You know?
He wasn't actively having to market himself every day while doing it.
Yes. It was more focused
More.
on just one thing. He wasn't comparing himself to people around him.
Speaking, since we're just referencing the wonderful Alex Lynn in this interview,
Yeah.
her remark was, he used to eat mushrooms out of the ground. Why are we looking up to him?
Exactly. He used to eat dirt and he was high all the time.
He was high all the time. It's fine.
He wrote poop jokes. He wrote poop jokes and sex jokes, and that's really...
But people out here calling him the bard. All right.
Yeah. He's not the be-all, end-all.
I also feel really biased because Shakespeare's been very much on my mind. I'm doing 2 Shakespearean productions at the same time. So I'm kind of just like, yeah, Shakespeare.
Yeah, no, Shakespeare's great. Shakespeare is great. Talking about the pandemic and being creative in the pandemic, there was a Shakespeare company, Revolution Shakespeare, that at the very beginning of the pandemic, March, April, they were putting out on social media once a week a Shakespeare play, and you would have to, and it was a creative challenge of let's create anything, a form of art inspired by this Shakespeare play. So I'm very grateful for that because I got like maybe 7 or 8 songs out of that from that challenge. So I'm very grateful to Shakespeare.
I rest my case then. Rebecca, 3 cheers. So we're talking about, right, this idea that the pandemic can affect people's writing styles and how we process stuff. And it sounds like for you that looks like slowing down. Is that what's happening here?
Suppose so. I feel like my writing process before the pandemic was pretty slow as well, and just reminding myself that I have time. Um, but yes, I would say as of right now, because of everything going on, I would find myself in a dark place, maybe. So yes, just making sure that I just practice guitar. Rebecca, just practice some guitar once a day. It can be an hour, it can be 30 minutes or 5 minutes, as long as you keep doing something, you've succeeded that day.
Yes.
Because it can be hard, and I try not to put pressure on myself. Yeah.
Handle yourself with care. I love that.
Exactly. And self-care, I think that also I've been trying to just sleep and eat well, and yeah, try
I
and have
can't
that
relate.
time, FaceTime with people. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm so happy that we're having this time to see each other's faces.
Yes.
See how little
Yeah,
little
it's
word.
great. It's always great to see you. You're such a light, and you're so good at this kind of format. You're such a great interviewer. You're really, really good.
When your guest actively compliments you during the interview,
Oh,
everyone is fine. Act natural. It's okay.
oh.
Okay, so I would love to transition a little bit and talk specifically about her hotel, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. What song came like first for you as a part of the writing process?
Get off.
Really?
Yeah, because it was only 2 chords. So, and that was when I first learned guitar, back in 2016, 17. And I've learned E minor and A minor. It's like, let's go.
Bam, that's a song. Let's do it.
Yes. Thinking about my ex, and, I want to see you suffer with all the pain you've caused me, all that stuff.
I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I realized I made a horrible mistake in not telling our audience what exactly her hotel is. So, Rebecca, do you want to do the explanation?
Try. Her hotel is, it's a musical that I feel it's an exploration between mind and body. It deals with heartbreak. Um, it deals with social media and constantly seeking validation from other people. And in this, when we open, there's a girl and she is comatose. She's in a coma and she's suffering from broken heart syndrome. And she has to navigate each room of her body, which has become a hotel, in order to find the exit. So it's about healing mind and body. And then there's also the issues of dealing with trying to find validation externally, either with a man validating you or social media validating you, the cool kids validating you, without seeking but eventually she seeks validation within herself, and then she's able to heal her body and wake up.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well done. You seemed so nervous, but you did such a great job.
Thanks. Yes, I have a nervous energy, I think, sometimes.
I was like, oh no, like you wrote it. If you can't explain it, who can?
I know. I know.
So Get Off, first song written. What about favorite song written for the show?
Oh, The Water is Everywhere, for sure, is my favorite. Because it's very true to who I am, and I also think that it's very true to what a lot of people go through in terms of, I mean, she says, I know I'm not the prettiest or the smartest or the this, I'm not enough, but I promise I'll be better for you, and I feel that a lot of people try to be better for somebody else a lot of the times, especially when there's trauma. Oh, another thing about my musical is it deals with child abuse and the trauma of child abuse and how that affects your romantic relationships as you get older. And if you don't heal yourself from the trauma as a child, how you might bleed into other relationships. And yes, what was my train of thought there? So yeah, that's why I love that song, because it feels like it's like you're bleeding in that song, and it's very emotional. And it was also based on a dream, because The Water is Everywhere I was dreaming that things were flooding and like the water was rising, and I couldn't find my ex, or my ex had drowned, and I was trying to find him in the water. So I think it was a perfect illustration of my dream as well, in terms of the sound and the emotion of it. And so yes, I'm very proud of that song.
This is going to make my song pick for her hotel seem a little shallow.
No.
My favorite was the Instagram song.
Yeah! That's a lot of people's favorites.
So good.
No, it's so fun, and it's so funny. I wrote that as a joke, because there are people that, sometimes, they like to post about them and their boyfriends online. It's, look at me, I'm so in love with my boyfriend on Instagram, It's like, oh, look at me and my boyfriend, And so I just sort of wrote that as, a joke of, oh, look at all these people posting about them and their boyfriends, and look how happy they are on Instagram. It wasn't going to be anything. But then actually Alex Chester, one of my best friends, and she was in her hotel. She told me, yeah, she was, with her purple hair. She's great. She told me, no, Rebecca, you should develop that into a song. So, all right, verse and a chorus. Here we go.
Love it. Yeah. So we're hitting on some of the themes of the show as we talk about the music of it. And one of the things that I personally resonated with in the show, right, was like this idea of being biracial and feeling inadequate with both sides.
You're right.
So yeah. I would just love to kind of hear how that evolved and what it was like to bring that sort of vulnerability into your writing.
Yeah, I definitely wanted, because the show is about me. So I definitely wanted, feeling not enough and feeling broken into pieces. I wanted to relate that to also being half and half, just part Asian, part something else, and yeah, not feeling like you belong anywhere. And yeah, that feeling was prominent when I was growing up, and um, just not necessarily when people are like, oh, you're Chinese, like, do you speak, and I felt like I had to speak Chinese, and I had to know the Chinese culture fluently, but I'm an American, so there was always that pressure of needing to know so much about China, but then also, oh, you're Jewish, so you know, we have to. I have to know all about my Jewish side and the Jewish history, and just not necessarily feeling as knowledgeable as I would like to about all those things, and feeling like I had to prove myself as a Chinese person, as a Jewish person. But then also the way you look, how you present to the world, you just sort of want people to know, but they don't. And tragically, my mother, I did write it in the show. She would put her hand up to my nose and try and, like, tell me, oh, I can give you a nose job for your birthday, and like get rid of that Jewish bump on your nose, those types of things. And so look wise, culturally, just always trying to grasp at something that wasn't there, and just trying to embrace who you are, um, without trying to just like keep grabbing at things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that this self acceptance, right? It shows so many different levels in her hotel. Get it? Because she's
Yes.
traveling and there's levels and another play on words for the audience.
Yes.
But yeah, so you have your self acceptance in your familiar ties, your self acceptance in your relationships, and then self acceptance in kind of like your society slash friend circle.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where we're gonna. Okay, everyone. These are gonna be some her hotel spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it, it is available on VOD. Okay, the ending is very much like she finds self-acceptance. Great, love that for her, but she also makes a friend. So could you kind of talk a little bit about how you came to the conclusion that the healthy relationship she's going to be in is with a friendship and not a relationship?
Yeah, and also friendship with a woman, which I think is really important. That we shouldn't be pitting women. We should be lifting each other up, and we shouldn't be pitting ourselves against one another. And I think in our society, we can definitely fall in that trap of competition with one another. And yeah, in my musical, we were both competing for one man, or he cheated on me with this girl, or he was going back and forth between us, and both of us trying to compete for his attention. He sees me, he chose me, so that makes me more valid. um, uh, but realizing that the fault here is not within the two of us, but within this man who can't make up his mind and who's non-committal, and it's not him, and we need to be supporting each other, and we need to get rid of toxic masculinity and just support each other. And we found each other at the end.
And there's Um, yes. Like that's all I'm gonna say on that is yes.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
One of the things that makes Her Hotel so unique in the virtual realm of theater is, well, now that we're transitioning into like these weird hybrid things, we're seeing more of it happen. But in my opinion, Her Hotel was a little bit groundbreaking in that it partially incorporated pre recorded components coupled with you and the cast being live and doing, so it's like this really interesting volley between live performance slash recorded performance. Could we talk a little bit about how that decision was made and kind of what that process was like?
Yeah, I certainly was overwhelmed when I got the email that my show was accepted at the Women's Theater Festival, because I wasn't even sure how to do it. But I really credit the Women's Theater Festival and Johanna for just really setting our minds at ease, me and Jessica Wu, and really making it possible for all these different technical elements to be able to happen. In, there's a canary that flies across the stage and we were able to make that happen. There's a penis snake that comes up and wraps around the girl, and we were able to make that happen during the live show because Women's Theater Festival said they could do it. Mickey said she could do it. So Jessica and I looked for these FX images online that were stock free or royalty free stock images that we could use, and we were able to make a transparency in Canva, and we were able to make these technical elements happen during this live show. And then I wanted a film editor to edit our music videos, but that was pretty tough to find somebody. So Jessica and I did half and half. We edited the music videos together for our musical, all the songs. And that reignited my passion for film editing, which was really great. And I was really overwhelmed at first trying to get these technical elements together and edit my own films. But it really energized me, and the fact that Mickey, and you were able to infuse all of these things together with OBS streaming, it's fantastic. And it was so re-energizing, from a place of, I was definitely down in a hole when I got that email and feeling like this is not possible. But it really was you guys who said, no, this is possible. We can make these technical elements happen. And we were just like, okay, let's do this.
I think we could say WTF's kind of like tagline is, we will yes and you into anything.
Yeah.
Like, you bring it to the table, we will say yes, and then throw something else in the mix as well.
Yeah. It was great.
Well, I had no clue that that's where or how you were approaching Her Hotel. When I showed up, it was you and Jessica and Mickey, and you, all three of you were of the mindset of, yeah, we're doing a thing. You're welcome, universe.
Yeah. By that time, I was pretty confident that we could get this done. By that time. Yeah.
Yes.
Because we had everything together.
So, Rebecca, I know that Her Hotel was not explicitly written to be performed virtually.
Mm-hmm.
Have you written anything for the virtual stage?
Yes and no. I would say I've definitely written things that can definitely be, two squares and two people talking like that. I've written that before the pandemic. I've written a lot of pieces that way. But now that I've been able to do something like Her Hotel, I am writing with the mindset of more spectacular things and more spectacle. Animation, let's go into the dream world again. Let's go into fantasy and music video, And I feel like before the pandemic started, I was always thinking that live performance would always mix with multimedia. Like, I always wanted music video to play behind a rock band. So I still think that way. So I feel like my next project is going to have a lot of the same elements with music video, pre-recorded music video and live, a square and a square here, but then, images are happening, flashes of visual things are happening across Zoom. Yeah.
Oh,
and it's fun. I think it's fun.
Oh, I can't wait. Like, let me know. Workshop readings,
Hi,
stage readings. I will be there.
I'll let you know, definitely.
And speaking of music videos, I think this was a comment during one of the live shows of Her Hotel. Someone had said, I'm not going to quote this correctly, I promise you.
It's okay.
The gist is, the music videos felt exactly how good MTV used to be.
Wow!
And I'm just like, but it's so true, because it had that perfect level of like video editing / like, okay, we're gonna do some overlay type of stuff. It was a vibe. It was a whole vibe.
Yeah, green screen. Back when, green screen was new, and that's what people in the music video world just started to play with green screen, and just like having just one person stand and then things are happening in the background and it looks so cool. And in a way also it was very simple to do, but simplicity is cool sometimes, because nowadays it's very, here's one scene and what is it, Lady Gaga with Rain on Me and Ariana Grande, and she's stabbed in the thigh, and, there's rain, and, and it's just this whole sound stage that she's dancing on. But like a simple green screen, you just stand there. Yeah, and it harkens back to the good old days when music videos just started to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you pick the time, but how far out you want to go. But the question is, what are some of your predictions for theater's future?
It's going to be like this for a while, I think. But it's exciting. I think the Zoom world is a new frontier. And I think that the digital world and music video and cinema, I love that theater can fuse with film. I love movie musicals, and I think we need to embrace that. I think embrace this digital medium. I actually prefer it because there's just more, I feel, that can be done with film than in a theater. When you have just one space, you can have different angles, you can have all these different technical elements, you can have special effects come in, and I love it. I really think we can all embrace it and find a lot of creativity within how can we make this Zoom theater really special, and I still feel like it's fun in uniting us all. Like, even though we're not all in the same space, we're all still united in watching, and we can comment in the comment section. And I feel unfortunately that for a while we still won't be in the same physical space, but that this world is I still feel is pretty exciting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, to all that.
Yes.
Yes. Um, I think this whole interview has just been Rebecca being very insightful and being very great. And I come back and I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah, that's, oh, thank
yeah.
you. I thank you so much. I think that you're amazing. I think you're an incredible interviewer, and yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, audience, you can stay or go. We're just gonna be yes anding each other for the next 20 minutes. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
We are approaching kind of our stopping point.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you, Rebecca, hey, friend, what are you working on? Do you have any projects coming up?
Yeah, sure. So first, you can watch her hotel on demand on Vimeo through Women's Theater Festival. It's only $10, so definitely check it out. I am I wrote one song for a new piece that I want to explore regarding, again, child abuse, and how it has affected relationships um, in your adult life. Third, I am media director of Mixed Asian Media Festival, and it is Hapa Mag's first presentation of a film festival. And as long as you have one person on the creative team or in the cast that is mixed Asian, you can submit. You can submit on Film Freeway up until May 23rd. Submissions are open. And talking about how her hotel reignited my passion for film editing. I am currently editing all of the sizzle reels and promo videos for that film festival. So all of the social media content I am editing, and so that's really creative. So definitely look out for those. And I've also written a few articles for Hapa Mag coming out March 10th. I actually have interviewed Ivan B. Hall from the Bachelorette from Bachelor Nation. He was the first Blasian, the first black, half Asian to be featured on the franchise. So we interview him, me and Brienne Schwartz. And I also have composed a gentle yoga sequence for the Hapa magazine that you can check out there as well. I think that's everything.
You do so many things, Rebecca. So many things.
Oh, thank you. I try. You don't think you do, like, day to day, but it adds up, when you look back. You're like, oh, yeah, I did this. Oh, yeah, I did do that, too. And I am busy, and, it's pretty great.
You are busy and you have time. What a beautiful balance.
Yes. Right? And we all have time.
So the takeaways today are: you have time.
Yes.
Friend, calm down. You have time.
Exactly.
I need to say that to myself more often. So when I'm saying it to you, dear viewers, know I'm talking to myself.
Oh, I agree. I agree with you there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. It is now time to do closing remarks. One, Rebecca, do you realize you are our closing writer for Writing in a Pandemic?
Oh my gosh, no. I'm so honored.
Yes, series closer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it.
And we didn't even get really into the nitty gritty of you being a multi-hyphenate artist and what that looks like and what that means for you. Um, but like also, I wouldn't change this conversation for the world. It's been such a great time.
It's such
So
a great time talking to you.
all this means is that eventually you're just gonna have to come back. That's all that means.
That
Is
would be great. I'd love a follow up. And keeping in touch in this time is I love seeing your face. So
yes.
I'd love to come back. Yay!
I expressed to someone the other day, I was like, no one realizes every time I send an ask out, a small part of me is so fearful the person is going to respond, I don't like you enough to be on the show, or like say something really mean.
I get the same way. I definitely anytime I invite somebody to something or even to my shows, you know, they're like, oh, they're not gonna support me. I'm not that, you know, I'm not that important to them. I understand the feeling, but I certainly, it's probably just you, and it's you know, it's probably just you. Yeah, it's just you in your head. Not it is you. No. It's probably just in your head, and you know, they don't think that about you at all. You know.
I will say though, her hotel had a remarkable turnout.
Yay!
Like that, like one of the things that stands out to me so much was one, like the number of viewers, but two, you had a lot of active viewers in the chat, right?
Woo!
Like people were just every single time a new song was coming on, they're like, banger.
Oh my gosh! I'm so glad. It's so wonderful to hear, you know, because as artists we definitely do get insecure, and we get down on ourselves, and oh, whatever, no one's going to care about this. But it's just so, I really feel the Women's Theater Festival was the best experience I have had as a performer and writer, and just so positive and supportive, and did a lot warmed my heart, did a lot for my self-esteem also. I know not external validation, you know, you have to validate yourself, but it's always nice to hear it from people that aren't, you know, just your best friend.
Rebecca Lee Lerman, I will always validate you.
I will always validate you too, Keyanna. You're incredible, really. You're also a multi-hyphenated artist, and, you know, just an incredible person.
Rebecca, you're going to have to stop before I start crying in front of my audience.
Ah!
Like,
we can do this all day. We need.
And we were joking before we went live. We were like, what's going to end up happening is an hour block of us just complimenting each other.
Yes!
And I think we stayed true to our promise.
We did.
We did. And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
So friends, hello theater makers. This is our final Writing in a Pandemic episode, at least for now. There's just so many other great playwrights and screenwriters that we would love to have on the show later on in life at some point. So I'm sure this is going to come back. But this is it for now, because we're moving on to some other things starting next week.
Yes.
Wait, am I winking with the right eye? There it is. Okay. So you're definitely going to want to come back next week when we start our next series. I don't think we've announced it yet, so we're going to keep it a surprise until that announcement. Ooh. Thank you, Rebecca, for being here and being wonderful.
Thank you for being the same.
Yes.
Yes.
If you think that T&D is wonderful, you're going to want to support us at the coffee page. The link should be right here. I have a hard time reading backwards, so I'm not going to say it aloud right now. We also have social medias all down below. Also, check out Rebecca's stuff, especially her hotel. I'm going to keep describing it as a banger because that is like the definition. If you look up banger, it's gonna have the Her Hotel poster right there beside it. So please check it out. And as always, merch, coffee, socials. Shout out to Women's Theater Festival for being one of our sponsors. Shout out to Hannah Williams for being a great producer. I don't say that enough, but she is.
Thank you, Hannah.
Yes. Yes? Is that everything? I hope so. Oh, stories. We want to hear from you, audience members. If you have tried virtual theater, how did it go? Email us. We want to hear about your experiences, and it would be really cool. So email us notdeadwithkey@gmail.com. Okay, now I'm done. Theater makers, you have a great rest of your Tuesday. This has been the Rebecca Lee Lerman with me, Keyanna Alexander, reminding everybody, friends, theater's not dead. Bye.